Hello, I'm Dr. Jim Carmichael. I'm a Christian and I specialize in counseling people with post-traumatic stress disorder or PTSD. In 1968, I was a 19-year-old Marine and our company was sent to a place called Quezon. The Battle of Quezon lasted 77 days. By the end of the battle, half of my company had either been wounded or were dead. When I rotated home, I knew that I was having problems. I just didn't know that there was a title to it. My wife and I wrestled with the effects of post-traumatic stress disorder. It was then that I realized that because my dad flew medevac missions during the Korean War, he too had PTSD, and my mom and my brother and I suffered through what he went through, and he didn't know what the problem was. He was undiagnosed. So by 1997, I realized I was really struggling psychologically with the anger, with the depression, with the things normally associated with post-traumatic stress disorder. And I went and had a physical, and it was at that time that I told my doctor that I was really having some problems psychologically. And through that conversation, he prescribed some medication, and then I began to seek out counselors through the VA, through private organizations, and I realized that no one understood what my problem was except the Veterans Administration. The diagnosis gave me an understanding of how to look at what was going on with me. So I went through the processes that the Veterans Administration gave me, classes and relaxation and so forth, and I realized this was only a temporary fix, if you will, but it didn't really resolve the issues that I had. No one told me that, for example, my brain, the chemicals, neurobiologically, biologically, anatomically, physiologically, my brain had changed. And those were things that I needed to know, but nobody brought them up, not even the VA. When I was in seminary in St. Louis, I had a class called Biblical Theology. I had gone through counseling there on the seminary. I'd gone through all kinds of counseling. And nobody seemed to understand what the problem was and what it was related to. And so this class laid out for me the big picture of God's plan and how I fit into that plan. The plan was from eternity past to eternity future. The problem was, what do you do with an issue like Vietnam, where there are no clear winners or losers, when it feels like all of America hates you and what you're doing? How do you derive meaning from any of that? We used to say in Vietnam, when we had a bad day, it don't mean nothing, because that's the only way we could cope with something that seemed to be pointless. But when I looked at what the Bible and Christ offered me as a Christian, and I realized that if God is the sovereign God that He is, then this thing, each event, each day, everything has meaning to it. And it fits into not just a historical context, but an eternal context. I tried suicide, And this was after I graduated from seminary. I got tired of the sadness. I just felt sad. But what I've learned is, the more I'm exposed to this eternal purpose of God, His work in me, His life and His death work, the past fades. It's been remarkable. I'm living witness to it.